Okay, cool. Recording has started. Okay, so tonight we're basically going to look at only the description of data nearly. So we're going to look at that component where we're going to work out mean, median, and mode, but also standard deviation, variance, range. We're going to look at interquartile range, just that we cover that as well. So basically going to look at how to work out quarter one, how to work out quarter three, and to subtract those two so that we can get the interquartile range. And then we're also going to look at I think let's quickly, I just want to get the name of it again. I think the coefficient of variation. So we're going to look at that as well. So basically that is the things in this part that we're going to look at. So basically measures of locality and measures of dispersion. Okay, so that will be our focus for tonight. What I'm quickly going to just do a recap of basically some of the formulas, what some of the things say, and then going into two data sets, and then for those two data sets, we're going to nearly calculate everything that's needed. What I'm going to show you is how to use it or to do it on Excel. So most of this we can do in Excel. Afterwards, I'm going to share that on our WhatsApp group as well, so that you have it. Some of the things I am also going to show you just again on paper, and I think the one that I probably will focus most on in the paper or on nearly writing it down for you is when I look at interquartile range, and also I just want you guys also, everybody that's online, but also listening later to the recording, to send me examples of the interquartile range or Q3 and Q1, and how they want you to calculate it. So I'm going to show you what we do in the stats environment, but I just want to make sure that you guys also make sure that if it is the same, or do you need to use the more difficult formula for that. Okay, so when we go into the descriptive stats, basically we have two things that we focus on. So we focus on the measure of central tendency, and that you can nearly look at as anything. And my laptop is not as nice while I'm traveling, so but basically it will central tendency looks at the things around that mean. So you will have a mean, mode, a median, and all is supposed to be quite close to one another. If all of them are equal, our distribution will be called a normal distribution. But what also happens is that it's not always 100% perfect, and then there is in that we need to work out what the spread of the data is, and the spread of the data basically will be where we say, but the measure, and I see measure was spelled wrong, measure of variability comes in. And that is basically to say, well, we've got a mean, median, and mode that's all in the middle, but some of your data is dispersed a bit to the one side, dispersed to the other side, and how we're gonna nearly work that out is to look at range, which is your biggest minus your minimum, your variance and standard deviation, that is when looking at nearly how far it is dispersed from the middle. And also what you will see in both of those calculations, if you look at the formula in your study guide, you will always subtract the mean. So you will always subtract one of those measures of central tendency to get the variance. So that is just showing again um, how far away all the data is from the middle. Okay, so that's quickly looking at the descriptive stats. So there you can see, and this is very small, but if we look at your sample, there's your sample mean that one deducts. If you look at your population mean. So for standard deviations, that would have been our formulas. Um, for mean, median, and mode, I just give it again the definition of it. Um, and then what I also try to incorporate here is to show that, okay, if we need to do interquartile range, we normally would say it is Q3 minus Q1. Okay, so we will work that out tonight as well. And then the one of the last ones is coefficient of variation that we will also look at. So depending if we're working with a sample or if we're working with a sample or a population, the coefficient of variance will always have that you look at your standard deviation and you divide that by your mean. Okay, so that will always be the basis of how we would calculate the coefficient of variation. So basically, we're going to work that also out tonight, um, because in any case, we will work out your standard deviation and we will work out the mean. So we will definitely have this component. And the last one nearly is just to show, and sometimes they talk about this as a box and whisker plot, box plot. They sometimes call it the 5 measurement plot, because what is in here is your minimum, your maximum, so that gives us your normal range that we would normally look at. Then you've got your Q1, your quartile 1, your Q3, your quartile 3. So if we subtract those two, we get our interquartile range. And then in the middle is the median. Okay, so it might be that they give you a set of data and they tell you, and they give you 4 or 5 options of these types of plots, and they ask you which one is the correct one. Okay, so that might be a way. They will not be able to ask you to draw it because it doesn't make sense, but they can give you a small data set and ask you which one is which. Okay, so that is basically looking at just the definitions and those kind of things. So what I thought was we're going to look at 2 data sets. We're not going to draw it or anything like that. What I'm going to do is in Excel, um, I'm gonna focus on that. Just want to share the Excel spreadsheet. Unfortunately, I don't have my two screens while I'm traveling. So I just want to put in the data, and then we're going to look at how we're going to calculate it. The one thing that that you can always remember is if you put the data in a spreadsheet like I'm doing now, you don't need to worry about put it in um, a order, so ascending or descending order, because we can nearly let Excel do that for us. Um, so that is not going to be an issue. Um, then the other thing is we just need to make sure that we're working with the right data. So I'm just quickly gonna check 70. So already I made a mistake there. It was 78. 78, 82, 96, 74, 52, 68, 82, 78, 74, 76, 88, 62, 66, 76, 76, 84, 95, 91, 58, 86. Cool. Okay, so we've covered all the data. Um, so now we can, and I want to make it bigger. We will then just scroll up and down to get to the things. But firstly, I want to order it. So there is in your Excel, you can just say from smallest to largest, and there it is ordered. Okay, so now there's a few built-in Excel functions. So let's start with the three of mode, median, and mean. So I can just on all of them. So I'm gonna do the mode first. So for the mode, I can put in the data, and it says the mode is 78. So let's quickly just check it as well. So remember, mode is the number that appears the most. So let's look at the number that appears the most. So 74 happens twice, 76 three times, 78 twice, 82 twice. Okay, so definitely 76 is the mode, because that does appear most. Okay, so we can be happy with that one. Um, then the other one that we're going to look at is your mean. Excel doesn't have a mean function, but the same as mean is your average. So what the average is just a sum of all these numbers divided by the number of numbers that there are. Okay, so we can already see the mean is a bit higher. So just to show you, if we did it with a formula, we could have said the sum of all the numbers divided by how many there was. There was 20, and we will also get the same. Okay, so let's just do this, and let's just make it to the biggest. Okay, so it seems like the biggest. Let's do it like that. Okay, so it is exactly the same. So and then the last one of the central tendency is median. And for median, um, again, there is a function. We are going to check it just afterwards. Um, okay, so median is 77. So let's just check that. So we know there is 20 numbers. So then your median is um, between number 11 and 12. So if you are between number 11 and 12, um, how we normally would have done it also is to say, well, that number plus that number divided by 2. So that would have given us also the mode, which is 77. Okay, so the mode, sorry, not the mode, the median. I'm now confused. Um, sorry, let me just, there's an urgent call coming in. I just quickly want to. Sorry about that. I'm back. So the next few things that we need to look at now is your standard deviation, variance, and range. So let's do that in the next box. We can look at that, make that smaller. So let's look at it in this box. So um, we don't have a function for range in Excel. So what we need to do for range is to say, and I'm gonna actually do it, add it. So we need to say what's the minimum value, and that we have. So there's a functions for that, and that's normally the first value. So that was 52. We have a maximum that we can work out. So that would be your 96. And then your range will be your maximum minus your minimum. Okay, so that's how you would work out the range in Excel. But if you did it by hand as well, you would look at your biggest number, and you will subtract your smallest number. So that is how you would work out the range as well. Okay, then the more difficult ones. So standard deviation. Um, and again, if I quickly go back to the PowerPoint, and we just quickly zoom into that function. So again, if you look at, and let's just make this a bit bigger. bigger as well. So if we look at this top function, um, you don't want to nearly do that for all your. So if you had now with 20 variables or 20 numbers, you don't want to do that calculation every time. Okay, so we're looking at the sample here. You don't want to do that calculation for 20 times. Okay, so the easiest is that in Excel, there is a function that can work that out for us. Um, so I'll rather show that to you. So there is a standard deviation function. The one thing that's very important is they told us we're working with a sample. So then we need to to click the one that is with sample. Okay, if we select the one with a P for population, we are going to get a different number. Okay, but they will always in your question tell you if you're working with a sample or not. Okay, so that is your standard deviation formula. So let's make it a bit, and then for your variance, there's also a formula. So again, variance population or variance sample. So we go for variance sample. And there we have it. So what I also always do is to put a check nearly in. So we know that, and let's just spell variance correct. And we know that your standard deviation is the square root of your variance. So what I'm putting in here for you guys is just to say, well, let's always just check. So if you use this for a new data set and that doesn't reflect the same, there is somewhere in your formulas an error. Okay, so just make again sure that when we change this data, these two numbers should be the same, because the one is just the square root of your variance. Okay, so in this, we've now basically covered your three measures um, of dispersion. We measured your three measures of local tendency. The other one that I just want to add is the coefficient of variation. Again, there is no formula for that in Excel, but we nearly know what we need to get. So we know that we working with a standard deviation, and we need to divide that by the mean. And we always need to multiply that by 100 as we want it in a percentage. Okay, so our answer would be 15.22% for the coefficient of variation. Okay, so we basically have covered all of those things except for your quartiles and then your interquartile range. Okay, so what what I want to do is I'm gonna copy this data over um, to the presentation and just put that back in so that we can just work with that again. Just because I want to show one or two things in a presentation that I can't do in Excel. So let me quickly just share that. Okay, so what I've now done, I've taken this data, and I have just now copied it over so that we can work with it. Let's see if I can just make it a bit bigger. Is that possible? Font. Okay, that's at least a bit bigger. I'm gonna try and make it a bit even bigger than that. Okay, so let's quickly, as I much better, I think. Okay, so we've got now our data. It's ordered. So what we normally would do is to say we will need to work out your quartile. So I'm just gonna type it in here that quartile 1, the formula is normally n plus 1 divided by 4 to get to the position of your quartile. And then we will need to get to the value. Quartile 2 is equal to 2 times n plus 1 and not n plus 10 divided by 4. And your quartile 3 is equal to 3 times n plus 1 divided by 4. Okay, so this is the position. We're going to work out the position, and then we're going to get the value that sits with that. Okay, and this is now, so I'm going to show you how we get to that position, and then just want you also to please check for me what, if you have done anything in the assignments or the previous things that you needed to submit, how they also reference it. So we know there's 20 numbers. So if I look at my Q1, it will be equal to 20 plus 1 divided by 4, which will give me 5.25. If we're sitting in the middle, we've got 2 times, which will give us 10.5. It's actually just that doubled up, and probably then the last one will be the 5.25 times 3. Yes, which is 15.75. Okay, actually the first time I see that trend. Okay, so now we have in here the position of Q1, position of Q2, position of Q3. So what we normally would do is to round it off to make it easier for us. So I want you guys just to check if you must round it off or if you must work with a 0.25. Okay, so if we round it off, that is 5. That stays between the two in the middle, because I will show you how that happens, and that will be rounded up to 16. Okay, so that for me is nearly the most important thing that you must please just check for me. So we are now looking at those positions, and we will now look at the data to find those positions. Okay, so if you look at position 5, let me just get my pen back. Okay. So position 5 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the value of Q1 would be at position 5 would be 68. Okay, so if we needed to get the value of that, it would have been 68. Then if we look at position 10.5, so we got it from a previous one where we also worked out the median, because that is exactly the same as the median. It's with numbers between 76, 78, so it's 77. And then Q3 is number 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 15, 16. So that is value 86. Sorry for the terrible handwriting. So 86 minus the 68 would give us 18. So if I needed to work out our interquartile range, it would have been 18. Okay, so I want to show you in Excel. So what Excel does for Q1 and Q3 is using this formula of 5.25. So if you guys are actually using the original formula as it should be, then it is perfect to use Excel. It will give you now a bit different answers, but let me show you. So we can do Q3, we can do Q1, and then we can do interquartile range, which is just that one minus that one. Okay, so you will see now that, sorry, sharing again the wrong one. So you will now pick up these small changes in the numbers. So let's work out quartile, and let's get to the function what they want. So they say, let's just put in the array, and this number basically that we need to include here. So we want it for quartile 3. Okay, so you can automatically see it's the number that it's somewhere around the 16. So we rounded it off, so now you can see there's a bit of a difference. The same if you look at the first quartile, which we had as around 66, I think. I will quickly go back again. As I just want to check this one, quartile So free is, okay, so you can see it's a bit different when we use Excel. So that's why nearly I want us to make sure that depending on how you use that formula for Q3 and Q1, that is where the difference come in. So whenever Josh, you or anybody else that is going to listen to this later on, um, have done anything like this in or in the book, because I could also not really pick up in the book what method they prefer you to use. Okay, so this is the one set of data. So what I then did, and now what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually just replicate this. So let's copy this, because I now want to show you also, if you now get a new set of data, what do you do? Okay, so let's do this as sheet 2. So I'm gonna just change the name. Okay, so if we now want to use this new set, let's look at the data. I'm gonna quickly make it smaller, just for myself, that I can work with it. Okay, so let's quickly do that. So all that you need to do now, the next time you get any of these questions, is to change the data in, so you can use the same spreadsheet, and let's change it. I'm just going to do is insert that when I want to sort it, that these don't sort with me, but I'm just going to go and put in the data. So it's 11 was 20. You can automatically see every time that I change something that the numbers change. So that's 14, 19, 28, 30, 23, 25, 17, 15, 26, 9, 22, and 28. Okay, so in this instance, we now have less numbers. This one, oh, okay, let's just check something went wrong there. So 11, 20, 28, 14, 19, 28, 30, 23, 25, 17, 26, 9, 22, 28. I'm just going to quickly take that out. I'm going to take out the and then just quickly just I've missed the number, so I need to just check again. 11, 20, 28, 14, 19, 28, 30, 23, 25, 17. Okay, missed 15, 26, 9, 22, and 28. Okay, so some of these numbers have changed now. Let me take that out. Let's take that out. Okay, so let's just make sure again that everything is fine. So we just sort from small to large again. So mode, you can see here 28 appears for most. So the mode is 28. Let me now make it just a bit bigger. So one can see mode 28 with 3 of them. The mean is 21. So that, again, we could have tested it by, I'm going to put, no, I'm just going to add it in here so that we have that formula, just that it is for every time. Okay, so you could see that the mean is also 21, median was 22, so that would have been, we had 15 numbers, so median will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 there. So it will be the one in the middle. Then we've got our minimum is 9. Our maximum was 30. So our range was the two minus from one another. So that's also right. Standard deviation, variance that we calculated, and we can, again, we verified it with our other formula, that it's also correct. And then obviously now the one that might again be different, is the one where we've now used the Excel functions for Q3, Q1, and interquartile range, but again, dependent on what you need to do, it might be a bit different. Okay. So that's if we use Excel in this, it's very difficult nearly to do this without Excel unless you then have a financial calculator where you can also put in, well, financial or scientific calculator, it doesn't matter, where you can also put in the numbers in, and then work out your answers. Okay. Any questions, Josh, that you might have?
No questions, sir, so
Okay,
far.
cool.
Only.
Is this helping?
Yes, very helpful.
Okay, so you guys, must you do basically this for your next assignment that you need to add in?
Yes, it's for the current assignment that will be closed on Sunday.
Okay, cool. Is there
Yes.
anything else that I'm missing for that one, or is it only this that you need to do?
Yes, because it's covering only 2 chapters.
Okay,
Uh, measures of
so it's measures of centricity
dispersion.
and measures of dispersion.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So that's been what we have covered. Um, yeah. So once again, if you get questions, you can put it on the chat as well. That if you're struggling with certain things, um, because I know you guys also have a few attempts that I think you can do.
Yes, we
Um,
have 2 attempts.
okay, so if you done it the first time and there was things that you struggled with, put some of those questions on the chat, when I can assist there as well.
Yes, because it will also appear on the assignment that will be wearing 20%. And then on the last assignment that will cover everything.
Okay, so you still need to do two 20% assignments.
Yes.
Okay. If you can just, if, do you have those? If you don't have those dates, don't worry. You can always let me know. But I think those two 20% dates for me will be very important, that we can at least have nearly two sessions in those weeks, maybe, so that you do it, try it once, get some of the questions, and we can work through it before you need to attempt it again.
Yes, I will share on the WhatsApp group.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, then that is it for tonight. This was a short one, but I thought I just wanted to show you guys how to do it and how to use Excel. And I'm going to share the spreadsheet now as well, so that you have it, and can use it. Okay, thanks, Josh, for joining, and good luck with the assignment, and everybody else that's going to listen in later on. Good luck with the assignment, and then we'll chat on the WhatsApp, and then next week we will have a session as well.
Okay, thank you
Okay,
very much, sir.
cool. Thanks, Josh. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.